Never want to hear another Red Hatter say that they support veterans.
I don't want to hear another thank you for your service.
I
don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You took my mental health care. The one thing that keeps me from losing my goddamn mind. You took my goddamn peace of mind.
They fired his doctor, so they didn't tell us. Just waited until it was his appointment time, and then she never showed up. And then he called to find out where she was. He said she got fired. And this was his medication re-up point.
You want to talk about a media blackout? How about the fact that not one national news station has covered the Veterans March that happened in Washington, D.C. and around the country? Thousands of veterans gathering to protest this administration, and it wasn't covered.
Well, several Tennessee military veterans made their way to the state capitol to join a nationwide protest against federal cuts to Social Security and veterans' health care services.
I'm going to call out to all veterans out there. Get involved.
Vietnam veteran Joseph Higgins joined more than 50 other veterans to speak out against changes to veteran resources. As part of President Trump's efforts to change the federal workforce, there's a proposal to lay off 80,000 Department of Veterans Affairs workers.
We're here to spread awareness for the illegal firing and mistreatment of our veterans. They're trying to fire 83,000 people in the VA that support and take care of our veterans. And 1/3 of the federal workforce is made up of veterans.
Army veteran Justin Julian says these types of cuts only make veterans more unified in protecting their rights. He tells me about the difficulty of receiving veteran benefits.
It took decades and many, many years for the VA to get to where it is now. And now they're trying to cut everything in the VA or cut a significant portion of the benefits for the VA. I remember when I used to have to wait 6 months to get a doctor appointment, and that just started to change just within the last couple of years, and now we're going back to that again.
This is what a veteran looks like.
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 Hello guys, and welcome to the J Report. In today's video, we are going to talk about veterans who are now protesting against Trump's administration for threatening to do away with some of their services. Did you hear about the massive veterans protest on March 14th? No? Well, you're not alone. The media has been quiet about it. Thousands of veterans took to the streets, standing outside VA hospitals, marching at state capitals, and gathering on the National Mall in DC, all to protest the deep cuts to the Department of Veterans Affairs. These cuts, pushed by the Trump administration and Elon Musk's so-called Doge, threatened to eliminate over 80,000 jobs in the VA alone. Let that sink in. The very people who fought for the country, who sacrificed their bodies, minds, and years of their lives, are now fighting just to be heard. If this is the kind of content you enjoy, please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing so that YouTube may recommend it to a wider audience. And so now, without further ado guys, let's go straight into this video. But first, let me play you a few clips on this matter, and I'll come back with my commentary. As a side note, all credit goes to the creators of these videos.
Why are veterans from around the country marching in D.C., and what are they trying to accomplish?
Hey, it's Joe from Georgia. So the government now, in saying the government, I'm going to say Donald Trump and his administration that's coming in, along with his civilians of Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, they're looking at where they can cut the budget. In one place that it goes to talk to another post, it was Social Security. Well, let's talk about the veterans benefits, especially veterans disability benefits. They basically want to say that some of these veterans who have benefits didn't deserve them. Well, I can tell you what, personally in my family, my son is a disabled veteran. He was in an IED explosion in Afghanistan. It took away years of his life. And yes, he did get a veteran's disability. But now they want to call those benefits absurdly generous. So how much money do you put on the price of someone's arm, leg, their mind, whatever it is? Well, these folks think they're just going to come in and they're going to cut those things out. Did you know how many veterans can't even function if they didn't have the finances to do it so? If someone lost their leg, just to get out of bed, they need assistance. Those type things. So now we've got them looking at where to cut, and one of the first places you look at are the people who served our country. Well, folks, that's what's going to happen. And for those folks who supported Donald Trump, you voted for veterans' disability benefits to be taken away from them. And when you look at what they're wanting to take away from, it doesn't even come close to the budget that they need to balance. So we're going to go ahead, once again, going to hit the Social Security, and then they're going to hit the next group of people who's going to be our veterans. Anyone who has served in the military, they've been injured in the service of their country, they have to be compensated. This administration coming up, they don't want to do that. Remember, Donald Trump is the one who said that veterans, basically, especially the ones suckers and losers, and what it was in for them. Well, now we're fixing to find out. So all the folks need to understand, when these veterans don't have a place to live, they don't have money for food and all that, it's because of who you voted for. So folks, we've got to make a lot of noise. They can't take away, they'll call it entitlements. It's things that we paid in for our entire lives in Social Security, and now they want to take helpless people who are on veterans' disability benefits and take their livelihoods away from them.
22 minutes ago now, the Associated Press published an internal memo that Trump and his administration are firing 80,000 Veterans Affairs workers. The already beyond short-staffed VA is going to crumble, and veterans who fought for our country are no longer going to receive care in any sort of timely manner, if at all. This is disgusting.
Nearly 6,000 veterans have already lost their jobs and been terminated from federal service at an unprecedented rate, and will all enter the civilian workforce with less protections. While my time is limited, I just wanted to say this. This isn't subjective. This is evidence. This is evidence. In less than 2 months, this administration has proved itself to be the most anti-veteran administration ever. What's going on is just not right on so many levels.
Yeah, you called it the most anti-veterans administration in history.
It is. I mean, there's almost 6,000 veterans that are terminated. It was just reported today that 80,000 VA employees are going to be terminated. They have the most amount of veterans. It shows you that the billionaires are the ones who matter, and they're going to step on anybody to get them what they want. So it's unfortunate, but a lot of people are going to suffer.
These protests weren't just a handful of people. They were massive. Veterans in wheelchairs, amputees, men and women who had served multiple tours overseas, all coming together to demand what they were promised: healthcare, support, and dignity. And yet, the mainstream media barely covered it. It's almost like they don't want people to know that the very government that constantly talks about supporting the troops is now gutting their benefits and abandoning them. This is shocking. America presents itself as a country that reveres its military, that honors its veterans. Soldiers are celebrated in movies, at sporting events, and in political speeches. But when it comes to actually taking care of them, the reality is much different. These VA cuts mean longer wait times for medical care, fewer mental health resources, and an overall decline in the quality of services. Some of these veterans rely on the VA for life-saving treatment. Now, because of these cuts, many of them don't even know if they'll have access to a doctor. If this were happening in any other country, it would be a major scandal. But in the US, it's barely making headlines. And let's talk about DEI. The US government slashed DEI programs, claiming they were woke and unnecessary. But in reality, these programs were actually helping veterans. A huge portion of the veteran population consists of Black, Latino, Asian, and Indigenous service members. Many of them faced discrimination while serving and continue to face barriers once they returned to civilian life. DEI initiatives were designed to help level the playing field, making sure that all veterans, no matter their race, gender, or background, got fair treatment. Now, with those programs gone, those same veterans are being left behind yet again. There's a global misconception that all US veterans fit a certain mold, that is white, male, and conservative, but that's simply not true. The veteran community is diverse. It includes women who fought in combat zone, Black and brown service members who dealt with racism within the military, and countless others. DEI programs were meant to acknowledge those struggles and ensure that all veterans had equal access to resources and opportunities. Eliminating DEI wasn't about saving money, it was about erasing progress. And now, those who relied on those programs are struggling even more. What makes this even more frustrating is the hypocrisy. Many of the same politicians who push for these cuts are the ones who love to be seen as pro-military. They attend Veterans Day ceremonies, take photos shaking hands with soldiers, and use the military as a political talking point. But when it's time to actually support veterans, they are nowhere to be found. And this isn't just a political issue, it's a moral issue. No matter where you stand politically, these are human beings who risked everything, and now they're being told they don't matter. When veterans speak up, they deserve to be heard, but instead, their protests were ignored. Why? Because acknowledging them would mean admitting that the system is failing those who served.
Kind of funny how the lack of media coverage we got when it came to the Veterans March that happened March 14th, nationwide, not just at DC, but all the capitals, the Veterans March. And the news was eerie silent, except for maybe PBS World News, I think is the only thing that covered it. So to the MAGA supporters, I bet not ever hear again you care about the veterans, because it's clear they don't stand for what's going on, and the administration do not care about the veterans. So that whole notion of we're doing this for the, we can stop it right there, because the amount of people that showed up for that Veterans March on March 14th was a resounding success. Okay, but the media didn't cover it. I wonder why that is.
Veterans aren't asking for special treatment. They're asking for the bare minimum: healthcare, mental health services, housing assistance, and job support. They were promised these things when they enlisted. They were told if they gave years of their lives, put themselves in danger, and followed orders without question, they would be taken care of. And now they're being thrown aside like they don't matter. One of the most heartbreaking things about this protest was seeing elderly veterans, that is Vietnam vets and Gulf War vets, standing side by side with younger vets from Iraq and Afghanistan, all fighting the same battle. Some of them had seen this happen before. They knew how the government treated Vietnam veterans when they came home. They were promised benefits only to be met with neglect. And now, history is repeating itself. It's clear that the US has a pattern of sending people off to war, but failing to take care of them when they return. And that has to change. These protests weren't just about funding, they were about dignity, about reminding the government and the people that veterans are not disposable. They're not just numbers on a budget sheet. They are real people with real struggles, and they deserve better. So what can be done? First of all, spread the word. If the media won't talk about it, people have to. Share their stories, support veteran-led organizations that are fighting against these cuts, contact representatives, and demand they protest veterans' benefits. And most importantly, don't let this protest be ignored. Because if people stay silent, the government will continue to get away with it. Veterans fought for the country. Now they're fighting for themselves. It's time for people to fight for them too. So what do you think? Let me know down in the comment section. I would love to keep this discussion going. Otherwise, that's it from me. I also have another video about Teachers for Trump and their regrets after a push to shut down the Department of Education. And if you enjoy such kind of videos, please click up here and enjoy. Also, consider subscribing, liking and sharing because it helps me grow my channel. But for now, thank you so much for watching. And until the next time, the Joy Report out.